Hello and welcome back to today's video. Thank you for taking the time for stopping by, taking the time away from your busy schedule to visit with me and my friends in today's collaboration. I will get more into that collaboration later. So let me just start by saying that today's DIYs is going to be a little different. I'm not going to do them like individually because they all is going to combine and come into one. And so basically, I'm going to just work on all of three of them together at the same time. So today I am deciding to make this tray. I want it to be a mirror tray. I am using some of these mirrors from the Dollar Tree, which I actually had for years. I have all three sizes of those mirrors, and I have a lot of them along with the square mirrors on hands, but that's another story. I have that glass jar from the Dollar Tree as well, and then I have this metal ribbon bling that I had got from Amazon, and that was purchased years ago. And so, and also I have two of the mini jars. Those mini jars, I actually had those for years ago. I used to keep like my little sugar and whatnot and my cinnamon in those when I was actually working on site in the office in my cabinet that I kept all of my little food for, like my little oatmeal. And so I'm going to utilize those. I have these mini crystal gems. Not sure if I'm going to use those or not because I was thinking about adding them to the metal wire. But we'll see. I also had some screws, and those screws, I was thinking that I can actually just screw the metal wire to the mirror. You'll see later I decide not to use those. And then I have my black and white paint, and then my paint brushes. So let's go ahead and start doing this DIY now that I have did a rundown of going through each item. And so I took the plastic off of the mirror. And so I went ahead and decided, I was like, well, hey, it will make sense to go ahead and start painting. So that way, while I'm painting and the paint is drying in between, I can be working on the next project. So first, let me say I apologize for any background noise that you hear, because currently the trash people is outside dumping the trash. So that noise should go away shortly. So I am taking now the black chalk paint, and I am painting the lids to the jars. I'm not going to have to use the centerpiece of the lid that's on this tall mason jar because that's going to be left open for me to put in the kitchen utensils that you will later see in the finished product. So I'm painting the lids. Let me go ahead and say now, let me apologize to you in advance. I did not realize when I was painting this and got ready to paint the second lid that my camera stopped. So I am so sorry. But once I realized that I started the camera back, I don't know what's actually going on. So I have put on the first coat of black paint on the lids. While that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and start painting the tall jar white. I'm going to paint that white, this jar white, as well as both of the mini jars white. Because like I stated, I want the lids to be black. I end up doing just two. I should have really did three. I end up putting 2 coats of white paint on this, on the jars. The mini jars didn't need no more than 2. The large one, it really didn't, but you can't see it unless you completely really get close up on it and inspect it, do an examination or investigation into where you can see. So I'm going to save you the hassle of watching me paint these all over. But let's get into what today's is. So today's video is part of a collaboration. This collaboration that we have is called Craft Your Stash. And the Craft Your Stash is anything that you wish. And this is our host is Tasha from Sunflowers Tasha DIYs, as well as Joanne from Joanne's DIY, and Katie from Red Lady Crafting. She's our guest host. I will have these beautiful women's channels linked down in today's description, as well as the playlist will be linked down. So stop by and see all of the other wonderful ladies' videos and check out their crafts. They are wonderful women, and we are here to support one another. So we appreciate if you subscribe to all of our channels, as well as like and share and comment. And if you're not a fan of commenting, I understand. I was once that type of person. I watched videos and I did not comment because I felt uncomfortable. And so for today's video, how about you just leave an emoji? It can be any emoji. It can be your favorite color. It can be a flower if you're ready for spring to come, or it can be some sort of a heart because Valentine's is around the corner. Either way, we greatly appreciate it and thank you. Now, let's get back into the DIY. So I have painted these jars. I took out my heat gun and I am allowing this heat gun to just blow onto the jars as I'm working on the other aspect of the DIYs. I continue to turn the jars around, rotate them and flip them so that way it can evenly dry all over. So now I am taking this metal ribbon and I'm measuring out of how much I need to cut that's going to fit completely around the large circle mirror. And then I will cut it. This wire, you have to be careful. Once you cut it, like the ends, you can cut yourself. So just be careful if you ever get this metal. I would try to link this down in the description and try to find it. As I stated, I purchased this like years ago on Amazon. So it's easily cut with regular scissors. You do not have to use wire cutters. That's one thing I did like about it. And so it's just nice. So when I first started putting this metal ribbon around this is where I was thinking I can use the screws, because I can just put 3 screws from the beginning, the middle, and the end that can briefly hold it while the glue dries, because I'm going to use the E6000. And so then I took the little push pin to poke the hole in it. So then once I realized that the push pin actually worked even better, I chose not to use the screws. Okay, so here's the thing. You change your mind again. So I changed my mind for the third time, because where the hole would have been centered on the mirror frame, it was going to cause my metal wire not to be evenly with the edge trimming of the mirror frame. So I changed my mind again and said, okay, how about I just get my clamps, and as I glue it down, I can just clamp it. And that is what I end up doing. So you'll see me just trying numerous things, but after a while, you'll see me use the clamps, and I chose to stick with the clamps. And it actually worked out perfect. I really like it. The only thing I would say is at the end finished product, I really should have just put some little feet under the bottom. I do think I may go back and do that. So right now, you see that I have taken that back out. Okay. And so now I have the E6000, and now I'm going to go ahead and start gluing this metal wire around the mirror frame. And of course, E6000, I do allow it to completely cure overnight. And so I'm going to put those clamps on there so that way I can just come back in the morning and it would be perfectly, completely dried. So I'm starting to put it on there. One thing about E6000, you do have to make sure that you hold something down because it takes a while to completely dry. That is where you see I'm using the clamps because it is very forgiving. I do like that much about it. I did have my quick set E6000. It's like a quick hole. I was going to use that, and then I was like, no, let's just do the E6000 and completely just use the clamps. So now that I am gluing this around the frame, I thought, well, maybe the center part, I can just put a little hot glue there. Now, I am well aware that metal and hot glue does not go hand in hand, okay? Metal and hot glue is like water and oil. They don't blend, they don't mix. But I just needed a temporary hold for that moment as I was just taking around trying to put the finish ends of adding this E6000 on there. And so I do know it was a temporary hold. Like I stated, I only wanted there for the center just to give me a temporary hold as I was continuing to make my way around the mirror frame. So, have to forgive me. My granddaughter was sitting on the other end of the table. She was having a whole conversation with me, which is the reason to why I'm actually doing this voiceover the next day. I was going to actually just talk through the video, but that didn't work out because I had my special person with me. And so I enjoyed her company as I was working on my DIYs, as she was sitting there practicing writing her letters and her numbers. Okay, so now that I have the metal ribbon completely around it, I'm just going to take another clamp and going to clamp and completely hold that. It is really tight. It's not going anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Rust-Oleum Glaze Clear Spray, and I'm going to spray the lids as well as the jars, okay? Because I don't want the paint to get rubbed off if something scrape or bump up against it, okay? So now you can see it's complete. That section, the top part has dried, I'm sorry. Majority of it anyway. I still have the clamps on there. And now I'm going to add the bottom mirror frame to it. And so at first, I had it face down and I was going to, just put the mirror in and put extra clamps at the bottom of it because the clamps could have hold from the bottom. But then a little light bulb went off and I was like, wait, instead of making this more complicated, flip it over the upside right way and just go ahead and put the glue around the mirror and let it dry sitting in the upright position. So you'll see that's what I'm doing. There me go with those little push pins again, thinking of another way I can do it. But you'll see I eventually changed and didn't use those again, which worked out. And now that's where I'm like, hey, just put it in the upright position. And it really worked perfect that way. So yeah, so I'm putting, now I'm sitting there like I'm putting the pins down. I'm not going to use the pen. Like, hey, just glue it in the upright position. Taking that off, I'm going to go ahead and add the glue to the frame. And then I'm going to sit and let that dry. I do apologize. I didn't realize that I was out of focus when I was first adding the glue to the frame, the mirror frame. And so I didn't want to waste your time. I cut most of that out because I was completely out of focus. Okay, so now I am putting down the top half of the wire in the frame to add to the mirror base. And it's tight. It's very secured. I can say that. It didn't budge. I didn't even have to add clamps or anything to the bottom, which I thought was, was cool, was really nice. So now I am taking the black lids to the small jars, and I am going to add an S and a P. I really wanted this to be black and gold, but the metal wire was silver. So I went ahead to use the my little silver sticker letters out of my stash that I had from the Dollar Tree. I had plenty letters. Wasn't no need to take out the Cricut to just add an S and a P on the top of a lid. But anyway, so now I'm going to put those lids on top of the jars, as well as I'm going to put the large lid on top of the jar. And then once I add the lids to those, you will then see we will be moving into the big reveal. Thank you for stopping by today's video. Also, please make sure that you subscribe, turn on your notification bell, share, and leave a comment. Again, stop by my friends' channels as well. If you're coming over from their channel, welcome. Thank you. I hope you like this type of content and thinking about joining me. If you're going over to their channel from my channel, tell them I said hi. So tell me, how do you think you like this little tray? Like, it's really cute. I like it. Very elegant. Here's the finished product.